Hi there, this is Plannerfield, and today I'm bringing you a tutorial on how to design a hexagon spread. I've done several of these recently, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback from it, and people have requested this tutorial. So just to review, this is the first hexagon spread. Here's the one I did for Halloween, and today in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I made a Thanksgiving themed spread and a Christmas spread. So that's what you're going to see me making, the Christmas and the Thanksgiving. But of course you could do this with any theme. These are just the upcoming holidays that I thought people might be interested in. So join me along. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with your supplies. The first thing that you're going to need is something to make the hexagon shapes. And I have several options for you. The first one are these Fiskars hexagon punches. I got these on Amazon, and I will make sure and link everything down below. But I got these on Amazon, and they work pretty well. You just squeeze them and they pop out. They come in several different sizes, which I'll explain in a minute. And then your other option for cutting the shapes, if you happen to have a Sizzix Big Shot like I do. Tim Holtz makes these hexagon shaped dies that come in a whole bunch of different sizes, so you can really go crazy. So there's another option. The next thing you're going to need is paper for your background, and again I have a couple options. I've used both Happy Planner dot grid paper that were in like a Happy Notes book, which probably everybody has. This works well. And then the other thing you can use is a solid cardstock. I've used this also. This is another option. And okay, so for the stickers, for the hexagons themselves, you'll need some patterns. So your first option is to use pattern stickers. And I used stickers that were mainly from season books. This is All in a Season, but most of the different season books have stickers like this. And the ones I'm talking about are these ones that are just like, you know, the solid rectangle that are in patterns. And to be honest with you, I haven't really used these in the past in my planning. So, you know, I just wasn't crazy about just the plain rectangle shape. So I thought, how could I use them? And that's how I came up with this, you know, hexagon thing. And then the other option is to use scrapbook paper. I am using this 6x6 scrapbook paper that I got from Target. These were in the dollar spot, and they were just $1, and it's like such a bargain. And the best part is they're already coordinated by color and theme and everything, so it's really like a no-brainer. So for a couple bucks you can pick this up. I just happened to find these. I think it was in September or October in the dollar spot. But you can use any scrapbook paper. I mean, everyone's got tons of different scrapbook paper around. Any kind of pattern paper will do. And then the other thing you're going to need are the shapes, you know, the actual, you know, blank spots to do your planning. So again, two different options. First is to use the Colorful Shapes book, or any Happy Planner book that has the hexagon stickers. I know they're in, you know, lots of different books, but this book in particular gives you a whole bunch of them in different colors, so you can really, you know, customize it to whatever you'd like. Then the other thing you can do is just punch your cardstock and make your own, you know, journaling area. Okay, now the next thing I have down here are some optional supplies. And these are things that I've used in all of my spreads. So the first thing are black and white gel pens. For black, I like the Sakura Glaze, which it gives like a glossy raised finish, and it just looks really cool, and it's a nice solid black. For white gel pens, the Sakura Jelly Roll. I like the 08 or the 10 size for this project. And then you need some colored pens, any kind of gel pen or anything like that, like to do whatever kind of writing you want to, use on your spread. I particularly love these Archer and Olive acrylograph pens, but again, you can use any kind of colored pen that you've got that you think would work. And another thing to consider is to use a gray brush pen. I don't know if you can tell, but all my hexagons and my lettering have like kind of a subtle drop shadow drawn around them. And you'll see when I put this together, it like really makes everything just pop off the page, and really, I think, helps in like the success of the design. And the gray pens that I use are these Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens. And these are just a regular old brush pen. So if you have a Tombow brush pen, that I'm sure that would work well too. I just really love these. I've been using these for so many years and have a bunch of them. So I recommend these Faber-Castells. Another thing to think about is using distress inks. I've used these in two ways. Around the outsides of each hexagon, I distress the edges again to kind of make them pop and look more 3D on the page. And then I've also used it in the background of this spread in particular, because this paper is just the white Happy Planner paper, dot grid paper. But since my stickers are white, I don't, the white on white, it isn't, I don't think it helps the design. So I wanted something to give some contrast. And so I inked the background of these pages, which is really simple and easy, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. And then if you're using scrapbook paper for your hexagons, you'll need to find some way to adhere those to the paper. And my recommendations are either a glue stick. I particularly like this Scotch Create glue stick. I think it's the best one out there. If you want to use good old-fashioned glue, I love this Art Glitter glue. It dries quick and it doesn't warp your paper. It's really fabulous. But what I'm going to use today is a Xyron, and I don't know if anyone here remembers Xyrons. It seems like they're from many years ago, but I still have one. And it's this kind of clunky machine that you feed your paper in here, and it turns any paper into a sticker. So it's really fabulous. If you happen to have one, dig that out. It works great. And then you don't have to worry about messy glue. Now I just want to go over a little bit of information about these punches, because trying to figure it out from the description on Amazon I found nearly impossible. So I wanted to share what I've learned. So there's 3 different sizes. There's this extra large on the top, and that makes a 2-inch hexagon. The large makes an 1.5 inch hexagon, and the medium makes a 1-inch hexagon. Now, I didn't realize when I got this medium one that it would be quite so small when it's actually punched out. So I have never found a use for this, and I'm sure I will eventually and find something for it, but we're not going to use that today, so I'm going to put that away. But this is on my do not bother list. So the 2 sizes that I'm working with in today's designs are the extra large and the large. I'm a feeling most people are going to prefer the large, because what I discovered, and I didn't know this at the time, is that this size is the perfect size of a Happy Planner colorful box. So if you want to use these stickers in your design, you're going to want to go with the large size. Also, if you're going to want to punch patterned stickers, the large fits in there just perfect. You can't get 2, unfortunately. You can get like 1 3/4, which you can use along the edges, which I'll show you later. But again, the extra large, it doesn't fit anyway. Well, no, see, with the bleed, it just doesn't fit. So if you want to use your happy planner stickers, you got to go with a large. But if you want to do your scrapbook paper, you can do either size. Okay, so ready to get started on my Thanksgiving hexagon spread. And what I've chosen to use is some tan paper for my background. And I just use this scrapbook paper, again from Target, and I've got, I think about 8 or so different patterns here. And I'm going to use this solid color as my journaling area where I'm going to do my planning. So the first thing I'm going to do, put that aside for now and get started with the punching. And this is pretty much a no-brainer, but I'll just show you on camera how I do it. Again, I've put a Xyron backing on this, so it's already got an adhesive. So like I said, it's turned my paper into a sticker. And to conserve paper, I just kind of line it up here. Just be careful that you don't, you get all the all the edges of the punch included. And it's a squeeze punch. So you just, again, make sure, yeah, is that in there? Yeah, okay. And you can just kind of center it if there's to get the design you like in the square. Then you just squeeze it, it pops out. And again, I just kind of center it a little bit how I think it would look good without wasting too much paper. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start arranging them on my background paper. So I've went ahead and trimmed my cardstock down to 7 and 9 1/4, which is the Happy Planner classic paper size. And what I like to do when I'm working on a spread that the design overlaps the spine is I like to just tape the two pieces of paper together. Basically how I would want to start is what's essential, and what's essential is making sure that I have enough boxes to plan on. And I'm just going to play with it a little bit to see what design I would like the most. I'm going to have to move these over a little bit, but this is just to get started. And there isn't any magic to this placement. I don't want, two similar stickers right near each other. So at this point, I just start placing like one glitter here, and then maybe one here, to try to put them in different areas. I'm kind of doing this haphazard right now, but and the other thing I want to consider is I think I want to put one of these in the middle. So these will have to shift over. I want the design to totally overlap the middle part of my spread. And so again, this is just the part where you play around. I just kind of start doing it and then move them from there. And the way I'm going to start, you see, it's lucky I've done this before, so I've learned the lessons. And when I did this one, I started it so that I started right here in the bottom corner and worked my way up. So I placed this sticker all the way down here so that I could have the most room side to side. As you can see, the hexagon got punched a little bit by the disc, but not too much. I can deal with that. And this just also made it easier to line up, because I didn't use a ruler at all when I laid this out. I just did it all by eye. So it's, you know, it's not perfectly straight, but it's certainly straight enough. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to start with this guy down here and work my way up. Now, before I do that, the next thing I want to consider is whether or not I want to distress ink the edges. As I talked about before, I have this distress ink, and I don't know if you've used this before, but what you do is you just apply it on the edges, and it gives you more of this like antiqued look. So do I want that? I don't know, I kind of think I do. I kind of think that looks cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distress them all. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start inking them and place them as I go. So if you've never done this before, this is just, you know, the little tool that you get with it, or, you know, that you buy with it. And you just lightly slide it along the edges. And I'm just going to distress each one as I go. And the reason why I'm going to distress each one as I go, because I don't want to have to pick all these up and move them again, and you know, I'd rather just move them once, and this is just easier. So using my tweezers, and you definitely want to be careful when you start. You know, if you've ever done a project like this where things have to line up with each other, and you know that, you know, the first piece you put down is important. Again, just keeping it lined up, you know, line up this corner with that corner with that corner, and try to keep them equidistant, and then look at this edge compared to the edge of the paper, and just try to eyeball it and see if it's the same. Now, the other one I'm going to do on dot grid paper, and I will have to say that that is real easy. Like, if this makes you nervous, thinking about how am I going to keep these straight, do it on dot grid paper, because it makes it way easier, and there's just a lot less, you know, stress trying to worry if you're getting it on there straight, because again, obviously the dot grids give you something to line up again, you know, on. So, but we'll be doing that one next. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and work my way through. It doesn't really take as long as you think. All right. Ooh, there it is. Yay! It's always so much fun to see it all trimmed out. Okay. Pens I use are either a black or white. Again, I'm just adding a little dash line around the outside because it makes it look like a quilt, and I think it's cute. And there isn't really any magic to this. I mean, you can kind of just like count off how many you have on each side and try to get them exact, but I'm not going to worry about, I've done that before, and that's kind of takes all the fun out of it. I just kind of freehand it just like it was real stitching, and I just go around each one and do this. Again, I love these kind of like little mindless things. I think it's fun. And so and I know I've used this glitter paper before, and that does not work with the white. It just kind of sinks in. But this glaze pen, like I talked about, see, it's like really inky, and it's you can't really see that it's raised that well. Probably it's hard to tell on this video and with a glitter background, but in person it's like shiny with a little bit of a, you know, 3D effect. Sometimes on the glitter I find like it looks better if I go over it twice, but you know what, this is looking pretty good the way it is. And there you go. So there's one in white and there's one in black. And now I'm just going to go through and do the rest of them. And I'll see you in a few minutes. And I ended up using black on all the pattern pieces and white on all the solid, and that's what I did. And the other little pointer I was just going to give you is, like, when I do a project like this that tends to, you know, take a little while, I kind of break the tasks up. Like, normally I wouldn't go right into doing all of this at once like I am right now for this video. I would tend to like leave this part of, you know, drawing the lines maybe till before I go to bed tonight, when I want to just, you know, calm down, or, you know, wind down, I mean, or, you know, when I'm watching a romantic comedy or a reality show or something, and it's just like a little background thing for me to do. Like, I kind of space it out. I don't try to swallow this all in one bite. So that's part of what I do. And then okay, I'm back. Took a little break, and let's see. So now everything is dry. All the ink is dry here. And while I was taking a break, I took the time to write out my title here. I'm just going to write Thanksgiving over the top. I played with a couple different options, but I decided to keep it simple with just Thanksgiving. And then I also did some experimenting with my markers. Especially if you're using colored paper, but really any paper that you know, especially if you haven't used it before, it's a good idea to try out to see what different colored markers will look like on your paper. So I tested out the dates here for the blue, and some colors here for the title on the tan colored paper. And I also tested out the grays for the drop shadow, because again, they look different on different papers. You know, different papers have different absorbencies, and also especially with markers like this, after a few minutes they soak in and they dry a lighter color. So it's a good idea to give it a minute to see what it's actually going to look like, because when you first apply it, it might look really dark, but then it kind of sinks into the paper. And again, I'm using the Archer and Olive acrylograph pens, which is like, it's like a liquid paint, but you could use any gel marker, and these need to be shaked. And then also it's good to have a piece of spare paper nearby to kind of dab them and get them started. So I'm just going to start filling in the dates here. And then I'm going to do the drop shadows. And I'm going to start with the darker colors. I picked out 2 colors. So I'm going to start with the darker color, which is this warm gray here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the right side of each hexagon and the bottom. So 1, 2, 3 sides of it. 3 sides of it will have a shadow. And I'm just going to lay my brush kind of flat against the paper. You'll see. And I just use the cardstock as a guide, so you don't really have to worry about making a straight line. If you just kind of just keep it pressed up against the edge. So there's that. Now really the last thing to do is the headline. And I just kind of did kind of a whimsical type. And I just drew it out in pencil. And I'm just gonna use this pen right over it, and then once the pen dries, I'll go back and you know, erase whatever pencil marks remaining. So okay, here goes nothing. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to go through and just add some drop shadows on the letters. I'm going to do it on the bottom and the right hand side of the letters, so it looks like the sun is coming this way. I am happy with that. Art is just a brief review of the steps, the instructions. The only thing I didn't do yet is punch it for the planner and cut it apart, but I'll do that in a second. So there you go. So now this is always the most exciting part, isn't it? Putting it in your planner. Let me get my planner out. It's going to go right here. Beautiful. Wow. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to do a Christmas one using Happy Planner stickers, both patterned and the colorful shapes. And I'm going to do it on the Happy Planner grid paper. So let me go get ready for that and I'll see you in a second. So I've got my supplies ready to go. I've got all these different stickers from season books. I have a bunch of older season books, and I did actually cut these out of the books, which I don't really like doing because it makes my books look kind of ratty. But when you go to punch them, you really need to get access all the way to the edge here, so you kind of have to do it, unfortunately. So I've got the paper ready, and then these are my colorful boxes. I chose gold and silver for Christmas, and these are from the Colorful Shapes books, which luckily I have a couple of because I go through these a lot. And let's see, and I'm going to be doing this on the Happy Planner dot grid paper from one of the Happy Notes books, and I'm going to be coloring the background of this paper with some distress inks. So I have these little mini inks, which I just love, and in shades of pink, and then I have some white. This is like it's basically the same ink but in a refillable squeeze bottle, and I love this white because I can add it to all these, any color, and make it, lighter, obviously. So we'll be doing that next, but first, and I got this is, I don't know if you've seen these before. They're actually makeup brushes that they sell on Amazon, and you use them for applying the ink. And I'll show that later too. But let's get started first with the punches. So this is pretty easy. And again, I figure I need approximately 30 of these. So when I do it, I just want to make sure that the whole sticker is included in the shape. And sometimes it can be hard to see because the design doesn't go all the way to the, you don't want to make sure you get the whole design. And then you can kind of wiggle it back and forth if you want to get the maximum effect of where you want it to punch. So you just squeeze it, punch it out. Okay, so I've got my punches ready. Next thing I'm going to do is get my paper ready. Oh, let me put these over here. And I've already done some tests here. It's a good idea if you're doing something like this, if you're applying any kind of paint or ink or anything to your paper, to do a test on the actual paper that you're using to see how it absorbs. So I'm going to do that first to kind of test this out. And I have this workspace, it's one of these Tim Holtz media surfaces that you can just apply inks or paints right over here on this section. So I'm just gonna apply some of my inks. I think I'll just put the white right in the middle. And you just need a little bit, like it doesn't look like much. Yeah, see, that looks pretty good. It's always just a good idea to start light and build up, because you can always make it darker, but you know, you can't make it lighter. So you just kind of swirl it around your paint and then just start light. You just kind of swish it around. And I'm going to do like a mottled background, probably make it a little darker around the edges, lighter in the middle, but just like a cloudy mottled background. It's super easy and it's fun to do. It's kind of addictive. Once you get started on this, you'll want to ink up all your pages. And what I like about ink as opposed to paint is, you know, it doesn't warp your paper at all. Keeps everything nice and, you know, flat. Okay, I'm going to call that good. So now we're ready to start with sticker placement, and I'm going to start with putting on the planning stickers first. So I'm just going to go ahead and start something like this. And again, I love doing this on the dot grid planner because you can really line them up like exactly with the dots here, and that I have to admit makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to start building it this way, and I'm doing that so that the hexagons will line up on the right hand spread. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So now that I've got these that fit over here, I can go ahead and stick this page like this. Okay, so now that I have my pattern established, I mean, this is kind of like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. So now that I have this started over here, I can place my my blank hexagons over on this page. So there we go. This is like your foundation. And then the rest of it is just arranging these. And now that I've got this like the foundation built, I can go through and kind of play with these and see where I might want to put them, you know, spacing them out so that I don't have, you know, too many red ones next to each other or too many green ones or whatever. And I just start building it. All right, we're back, and here is my finished spread. What I did is I added this title. I just hand lettered it myself, and I used these Archer and Olive acrylograph pens, which I just love. I will have a link down below for these pens, and I have a discount code if that is something you're interested in. And then to do the days of the week, I just used some Jelly Roll, Sakura Jelly Roll metallic silver and gold, and then I just added a drop shadow with the gray markers like I did last time, and I added some little dots all around just to try to make it a little more festive and kind of give it a, you know, just a festive kind of whimsical feel. And I really like how this came out. Like, I think this design reminds me of like wrapping paper. It's like kind of perfect for Christmas morning, like all under the tree, all the different types of wrapping paper. And I love the pink and the red. I just love that combination. So I'm happy with it. So let me just review. There's the Christmas spread. There's the Thanksgiving spread that we made earlier in this video. My Halloween and my fall. And what I really love about this design is, even though you know the techniques to put them to put these spreads together is the same, when you use all different papers and colors and themes, they really look different. And let me just, in case you missed it before and you want to screenshot it, this is my supply list that you'll need. If you want to screenshot that, go ahead. And here's the information on the hexagon punches, the large and the extra large. And here are the instructions. So there you go. I hope you'll try this yourself, and please do tag me on Instagram. I'm at Plannerfield. I would really love to see your spreads. And again, if you have any kind of constructive criticism on how I could improve these tutorials, I would love to hear that too. So thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.